She says these methods that we developed to produce the Model T, they could be applied to other things, could be applied to farming. And if they were, here's what would happen. And then you fast forward 100 years and like we are living in that reality.
Right.
But you can see the evolution of the thought process communicated by the person who drove us into this future state. And it's like, it's just so interesting. And it can help contextualize it with like the information that the human has in their brain. And
Right.
oh, all of this, it means something. Let me add a little bit of additional context. And guess what? Now you can do a whole lot more with that, right? And the implications of that for like in the world of LLMs and generative AI.
Well, that's what I said. I said he made the argument. Well, machine learning and artificial intelligence isn't being delivered on an industry. I said, I wholly agree with you. But he was trying to put it through the prism of Tulip. This is part of their deficiency. I said, no, you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. In fact, they're an example of how you can implement. They're way ahead of the game when it comes to leveraging generative AI, even in a very simple application. And why is that? Because the what is the data behind a Tulip interface? It looks like a fucking Airtable. Yeah. That a large language model can easily decipher the structure.
Gobble it up.
Right. And it's like, they're an example of how we should be doing
this. And we're like, we'll give it away.
Right.
You want our model? Great. You want to like send to green grass? Great. You want to take I don't care.
And when I said that, he shut up.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
We're not saying, hey, look, we're the only show in town here. We're saying, look, we have important information context, and maybe it's sufficient to do it all in Tulip. If so, great. That's fantastic.
So I really think at Prove It, it'll be, I really think it'll introduce Tulip from an application perspective to a whole new audience.
Awesome.
Because I think a lot of people they think Tulip, MES.
Yeah.
That's not how I see Tulip. I see Tulip as the entry point, as a function of manufacturing execution, but that isn't what Tulip is.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. That's why we have such a conflicted relationship with MES.
Right.
Like, people come to us and say, hey, I need an MES. Should I look at Tulip? I'm like, probably. No, so you guys are an MES? I'm like,
no.
That's a lot of actually maybe we should get you with so we have this guy, we're working with the machine shop, and they hired this their whole digital thing is they hired this old school MES guy. He's coming around. But
I do it every day. I was on site and they got this this particular facility. They're making a part that takes 60 minutes to make. Guess what the lead time is from order dispatch to the shop floor? I'm talking about it's like probably 8 different steps. It's a little bit of complexity because you have parent order and it's like one to many. It could be one build. It could be build 200 of the same thing. It could be build 10. All 10 are different.
Right.
And each one's going to have a slightly different routing through an entirely manual operation, right? I'll give you one clue. No digital presence whatsoever. It's all paper-based.
Okay.
60-minute total cycle time, though. If you actually just take one part and do the whole thing.
Yeah.
Guess what the lead time is? Order dispatch to box, ready to ship to the customer.
in days, I'll help you.
In days.
Yeah, no, I mean,
62.
shut the fuck.
62. But you've got a team of MES experts, and they're evaluating Tulip against SAP ME, and they're saying like, well, with SAP ME, it's easy. I just do this and this. And I'm like, in this facility, downstairs right now, this is the situation. I'm like, we can have this complete transfer in a week. Not even a week. We can do it in 4 days, 3 days.
And then that's when you say, let us show you the art of the possible.
And we get you to a week. In a week, we're still not happy with, by the way. A week is like horribly inefficient, but it can get you from 2 months. I was walking the shop floor. I saw orders from week 12. So that's 6 months ago. I saw orders on the shop floor from week 39 last year. I'm like, and how do I know? I just pick it up. No, I'm like, this says.
Jane, good to see you again.
Good to see you, Walker.
We're old.
Yeah, communication.
Yes, old communication. Yeah. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you, brother.
Grab my name tag and coffee, but you need to see the unified namespace demo.
Yes, I'm gonna do a loop, and then we're gonna go do it.
Dylan is the one you should talk to. Or Hartnett for the unit.
Okay, perfect.
Like I don't know. I think you're gonna. I want to talk to you after you see.
Yeah, we want your first reaction.
All right, perfect.
We built something. I think that.
All right, perfect.
When we built it, we were thinking of you.
All right, perfect. Love to do it. Love to do it. Yeah, we'll do it.
We need who's responsible to prove it? Is that Maddie?
Elise. Elise is quarterbacking the Tulip presence. But I plan to be there.
Okay, perfect. All right.
Got to figure out. She's handling all the other stuff, but I'll get it.
It's gonna be sick. It's gonna be. Like we've done a whole bunch of stuff like, okay, how's this? We've done dry runs already. All right, what is this going to look like? It's going to be pretty crazy. I think when people come out, they're going to go, All right, because a lot of the idea I got from you guys.
Yeah.
Like in terms of how to structure it, and like with the vendors last year, how everybody was connected together. It was the first time I'd ever been.
Yeah.
For like honestly, for the next year, all I did every time I spoke was I would go to the exhibit halls and I'd ask every vendor, how do you talk to everybody else? I would say, I understand, I know features and benefits, I get it, but how do I take this thing, all the data you're generating here, and how do I put it together with the data they're generating there so that I can convert that into value as a commodity for my business?
Also with Brulip. Have you seen Brulip? That's the
Well,
coffee
it's,
thing.
remember we
yeah.
had the T-shirt thing?
Yeah, I was saying, I was wondering if they got the T-shirt thing this
Now
year.
we've got the like laser engraved name tags, and then we did Brulip, and then we did Brulip last.
So now it'll be the total number of cups of coffee that everybody drink. All right, perfect. Yeah.
The guys on Brulip,
Feeding into the UNS. So you
Yeah.
can see exactly how many.
All right,
the
perfect.
guys who made Brulip, I came in here after the dinners at 10 p.m. and they were just starting on that. And I was like, "What are you guys doing?" They're like, "We're gonna do a Brulip." I was like, "What is Brulip?" They're like, "We're gonna do a coffee machine ordering system onto it." They started at like 10 p.m. last night.
Awesome.
I was like,
All
"Oh
right.
my god."
We should definitely do that too. We should definitely have them, because by the way, the T-shirt of all the videos we did last year, the T-shirt station was the biggest.
Yeah.
I
the
know,
biggest
and
hit.
That was, we literally did that the night before.
Again,
we started, it was like
It's
10
like the
p.m.
vendor shows up the evening before to set up the station, and they were like, "Hey, we can put a current clamp here and measure that."
Let's just
and all
monitor
of a
this
sudden-
thing. But then there's all the complexities. I was like, "Oh, we'll just like do it off the current clamp." And he's like, no, it's like 15 watts all day, and I'm like, or 30 watts all day. And we're like, huh. Well, how are we going to do this? But then you get into your little problem solve mode. Like,
Right.
well, we could put a QR code, a camera up there, and that would show. Like, oh, that might work. What if we did a brake beam sensor here? Like, why don't we do both? And now you're getting like super.
It's those simple use cases that make people, you guys think in objects all day long, right? We think in digital objects all day long. What I think oftentimes what we forget is that the average manufacturing employee doesn't think that way.
Yeah.
So much of what we have to do in towards increasing digital fluency is showing you have to rewire the way they view the world, right? And Jeff Rankinen at Penn Tech College, right? Just did a lesson yesterday on UNS, 30-something students, had them stream he turned every student into a digital object using a lesson that we taught using their mouse. So basically they all have a little piece of code running, and as their mouse moves, they can look and see how many students are connected and how many are active, how many of them did any work in the last 5 seconds. But they did it all in like 11 minutes. That lesson wasn't about how do you track people. The lesson was, oh, wait, I need to view you as an object. There are ways to describe you. There are functions you serve, and there's ways you can inform. I have to start rewiring the way. And I think the beauty of Tulip, because of the short time to value, is that you get more examples of the art of the possible in the same amount of time as I get one example of the art of the possible in other platforms. And that's how we see this increase in
It's
fluency.
instrumenting people don't realize the importance of the value of instrumenting people, like instrumenting
Correct.
what you do, looking at what you're doing, including that in the set, right?
Right.
We are like, we like humans, you're going to operate on the set, put them aside, let's automate the thing, then bring them back in. So that uniqueness of bringing the person into it is just like,
Correct. And imagine the dock workers. I was talking about the whole strike thing, right? And their big push, their resistance against automation. And I'm thinking, no, that resistance comes from fear. That fear comes from a lack of knowledge. So the lack of knowledge is the piece that we have to, like, if I'm a dock worker, I have to be thinking, how does automation help me?
Yeah.
Not how is automation my enemy, right?
Well, that it dates back to the
Right.
first revolution, right? It's the human factor was always never considered. Unions and all that.
Right.
It's just
Right.
inherent. People were born with conflict. Like they were born with this conflict that they work, the punch in, the punch out.
Right.
You have to take that out of them.
Yeah, the whole Ottoman, or no, the Hessian or whatever, it comes from
right.
east of Germany. That thought of, the punch in 8 hours a day and punch in, punch out.
Yeah, and how do you get that? You need to get that mentality
You
out.
need to be thinking in terms of function,
Right.
not what is your role and what do you do all day, but what function do you serve? And how do you use tools for to serve that function, right? Human.
Technology should augment the worker.
Correct. That's exactly. And it's like I do the math, and I'm like, I've been doing this 25 years, and have I engineered risk out? Have I engineered environmental impact out? Yes. But have I ever replaced a human being with pure automation in 25 years? Never. I may have moved them from the end of the line, flipping a box over with their foot, but that was a job they were doing in addition to some other function, and now they focus on that function exclusively.
Yeah.
It's like, and what we really need is the numbers. I think it's like 2.4 to 1. So for every one job you engineer out, you create 2.4 jobs, right? We don't talk enough about that.
It's interesting seeing all of this now with LLMs, right? Which are a new way of automation of some parts of this like route boring thing that now make it much easier to find information, but you still critically need that person, right? These models are terrible at like being autonomous, but they can help you, they can assist you be a force multiplier.
The human being is the force multiplier. The human being is the supervisor of artificial intelligence. That's what I say. Yeah. You are supervising AI all day long. But and I think the other story we have to tell is, I think everyone thinks of the economy as a zero-sum game. It's like, no, we create markets. We create, we grow. All this is doing is speeding up our process of getting to the next growth stage, right? But we don't talk about that enough.
This is the history of technology. I mean, look at farming in 1800, farming in 1900. Well, not 1900s. It wasn't actually all that different, but 1940, and then today you have like a farmer who's like just hanging out most of the time.
Right.
And then for a few days you get to the combine and
works
he doesn't even get in the combine. It just like routes it.
Right.
Comes in with the vegetables. Takes it to the market.
Oh, it's much more sophisticated.
Hundreds of
like the chip in the cow, she puts her head in.
But that's what I'm saying.
And it's really that always surprised me, that agriculture technology. If you go to there's a lot of technology and it's kind of, they don't make a lot of noise out of it. They don't make a big deal out of it, right?
Well, have you ever read My Life and Work by Henry Ford?
Yeah.
It's so interesting because it's this perspective of this moment in time when the industrialization of America is just beginning, and he's like, but he sees the future, and he's he says these methods that we developed to produce the Model T, they could be applied to other things. They could be applied to farming, and if they were, here's what would happen. And then you fast forward 100 years, and we are living in that reality.
Right.
But you can see the evolution of the thought process communicated by the person who, probably more than among a handful of others at the time, drove us into this future state. And it's just so interesting.
LLMs, by the way, this will be my story for next year. The story I tell over the whole year. The exponential, the transformative, enormous step that everyone seems to have made in the last 2 years, magically, LLMs are the reason. Nobody is admitting, we're measuring output productivity and it is the bottom end is a 6-to-1 ratio. There is a 6x return on people's productivities if you organize the business correctly. That's the bottom end. Young people, these kids that we're bringing in there, we have 2 high school kids working with us. It is like a 25-to-1. What they produced for Prove It, what they produced in 1 hour used to take our marketing group a week to put together before we got the proofs. They did it in 1 hour. And they were not afraid to be like, I don't know how to do this, and I'm gonna go ask ChatGPT how to do it, and we're gonna build. They even had ChatGPT create the wireframe for the image itself.
Really?
And did all the way that they think. Yeah. We don't think that way. We have these in.
That's the thing. We grew up doing long division, and they grew up with a calculator.
So my daughter is supposed to do homework right now. Getting there, she's sitting with her phone like this, and I go, do your homework. And she goes, I'm doing my homework. I was like, no, look at your phone. So look at the phone. There's the math question, and the picture is taking a picture of the math question and solving it for her.
Right. Yes. Yes.
And then what Dad does, you shouldn't do it this way, right? You have to learn to do the right thing. Why?
As long as she learns how to think.
Yeah. That's
right. As long as she learns how to think, that's the important part, right? Does she learn how to critically think? As long as she learns how to critically think, then use the tool.
Yeah.
I
guarantee you, she knows how to critically.
Right. Yeah. So, all right, we're gonna do a walk. I'll talk to you in a little bit.
Go check out
Jane.
My name's Spence.
Jane, great seeing you. I'll talk to you in a little bit.
Just a quick picture.
Yeah, let's do it.
A quick picture. Put something up on
There's Elise right there, so I'm gonna connect you with
All right. Perfect.
Jane, you're in this too. You're in this too. You guys are everybody.
He's very good at the wide angle.
That's right. I got
the long arms.
He's very good.
Stand here.
So hold on.
Yeah.
All right, ready?
Yeah, we're all in.
There you are, man. 1, 2, 3. All right.
So,
Rick Vallotto always gives me a hard time about the thumbs up. At Hanover Messy, every photo I had the thumbs up, and he's like, Walker, what the hell is with this thumbs up thing? I'm like, it's something to do with my hand. I don't know. It's just So, all right, I'll talk to you in a little bit.
Guys.
All right, see ya.
See that NASCAR out front?
Yes, I was at that race. I was at Circuit of Americas. Yeah. That was awesome.